So today I want to touch base on two topics. Number one is sealer, and number two is level of shine. During the time of the composition of estimates and trying to get a feel for what it is that you're trying to do, we loosely use the term as matte as possible. Low satin finish, high satin finish, high gloss, as shiny as possible. All these different combination of words are words that we use because we understand that the different densities and the different types of stones will react differently and provide different levels of sheen at different grit levels. So for example, I'm going to use this slab as an example. If we start here, we ground with a 50 grit resin, and by the time we got all the way up here, we were at a high natural polish, but also including an artificial polish. To us, artificial polishes are polishes that are created by way of powders, pastes, spray-on compounds, so on and so forth. So if your work order was to read something like a full restoration to a low satin finish, or a satin finish, or a high satin finish, or you keep going and it says as high as possible. The reason why we use those phrases is because stones react differently at different grit levels. So for example, right here, this one would be a 2, 4, 8. Let's say this one is a 800 grit level, right? So if an 800 grit level produces this kind of sheen on a white stone, it might take 1100 grit level to get the same type of shine on perhaps a creme marfil marble. So when our technicians read the work order, they understand that as a customer, you're looking for a low satin finish combination. So at the time of service, the technician would capitalize and say, I've reached a particular level of shine that I know that if I went up, you're going to increase from this to this. Would you like it shinier? And by the time you get to this, if you say, I kind of want a little bit more, but nothing too shiny, then they would go one step higher. And that is the way that we're able to determine low satin finish, high satin finish, and you can't tie it down to a particular grit level. Every stone acts differently. Okay, so that's number one as far as polishing goes and how we use those words. The second thing is sealer. So we really always get is, when you seal, will the sealer make it shiny? So we just finished sealing this entire countertop for a different video that we're making that I'm sure you can check out. And in that video, you'll be able to see that this entire countertop was sprayed and sealed with our solvent-based impregnating sealer all the way across. And you could see that the same hone that you find at this level is still there after the sealer. At every single step of the way and of the polishing stage, you could see that it hasn't been altered, it hasn't been changed, except for one thing. We did an example of what a color enhancer sealer does here. See how it kind of darkened it. Over here in this area here, you could see how it darkened it. But again, that's just for illustration purposes. But overall, the concept is that impregnating sealers do not change the look of the stone. So if you wanted to ensure that it stayed white, it stayed green, it stayed red, whatever color your stone is, it will stay that color unless you wanted to enhance it. So with that said, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to continue to produce more videos and just shed a little bit more light on more subjects. So thank you. I'll catch you on the next one.